Hey everybody, Andrew Zimmern here. Welcome to our YouTube channel. We get cool stuff sent to us in the office all the time, and this was something that I really wanted to show you. The folks at Forever Oceans sent us this beautiful fish. It's a member of the jack family. It's called a Kahala. It's similar to a lot of other fish that are in the Pacific. It's absolutely delicious. I've eaten a lot of its cousins. The problem with the Kahala for a long time was that wild Kahala suffered from a disease called chiguatera, but the farmed product now that is available from Forever Oceans, and you know that I am a huge proponent of aquaculture, especially deep water ocean aquaculture, has solved that problem. And so you have a beautiful fresh fish that is, I think, in the perfect size. You know, that 3-4 pound size. Obviously, some of them come a little bigger, some of them a little smaller. In that 4 or 5 people can eat an entire roast fish, or you can fillet it and feed people. And of course, the frame, the head, the collars make a fantastic stock or soup. So you can really get a lot of portions out of this fish. It's a pink raw meat that is delicious texturally. Some of the species when raw. When cooked, it's white and firm fleshed, and I just absolutely love it. This fish can be butchered many different ways. The most common, of course, is to make a firm cut behind that fin that is right there. Some people like to come across this way and come through the skin. Other folks like to make a cut about 1.5 inches, 2 inches deep, all the way down this dorsal area. And let me try to reverse this over here for you. And you can see, then you can just press your knife against the frame of the fish, right? Let the fish do the work for you, or the bones of the fish, until you can make that cut there on the tail, this little flap. And then at that point, you can just come this way with your knife, lift up the belly, come all the way through. I like to show this on white paper so that you can see all the different moves that I'm making, but obviously safety first. You want to do this typically on a wet towel. You can repeat on the other side, or you can just take the bone off. I'm going to put this fish here, and now I'm going to transfer over to my cutting board. So I have the fillet of this fish, and you can see the rich fat lines and the buttery texture of the edge of the collar here that I got. Obviously the belly here. There's a couple little bones that run down the center there that you can cut or pull out. I'm just going to take these rib bones out by laying my knife very flat, and I'm using a typical kitchen knife. Obviously, if you have a fillet knife or a scimitar knife, you can certainly do that and use the face of the knife, right? I save all of this. This is some of the best stuff for soup that I know of. And when I use my knife like this and take off a little slice of the belly, you can see there. Wow. Just superb fish. The belly is delicious raw. Okay. Gonna cut away that piece of skin. I'm gonna trim that bone there. Some people like to grill or cook their fish with the skin on. I'm just gonna take this fish off of the skin just so I can show you what it's all about. Running your knife like that will remove the skin only, leaving the fillet behind. This is gorgeous. And of course you have the loin, which is the top piece, and the belly side. I'm just gonna make an incision down here. This is now a completely boneless fillet. Cut out those large bones there, and I save this. There's pin bones running through there, but I can use that in my soup or my stock. if I make a fish stock with the head and the bones heavily trimmed, I can then boil this in there and flake all that extra meat off to populate the soup. And now I have these two fillets right here. And what I'm really interested in doing is showing you how this cooks up. So just add a little soupçon of oil there. And when I'm tasting fish, I just want to put a little salt on there. Let's raise the heat on this a little bit. Move the oil around, and I'm going to start, once this gets a little hotter, another minute or two, with the show side. Actually, let's see how the belly is. I save scrap like this. It's not scrap, it's delicious fish. But I save these smaller pieces if I'm cooking like this, and I'll use this for risottos or kebabs or some other purpose. Put a little salt on there. So when I get a new fish that I'm working with, a new product, what are some of the things that I notice right away? First of all, how beautiful the fish is. I mean, the scales, the eyes. This arrived yesterday, so it even has an extra day of age on it in our refrigerator, and it's still incredibly fresh. One of the benefits of the aquaculture system. The fins are almost, it's a gorgeous shape. There's no abnormalities when I butchered it. It tastes delicious raw. But just in handling it for a couple minutes, the greasiness on my fingers tells me how much fat, healthy, good fish fat, right, is in that meat. Which tells me that from an eating standpoint, it's going to be rich despite being firm-fleshed. Much in the same way that tuna is, right? We're just going to let that, I'm going to flip this around, put the thickest part of the fish in the middle of my saute pan. We're just going to let that cook for about 3 minutes on that side. Flip it over, cook it for about another 3-4 minutes on the other side, and get a chance to taste it ourselves. So I'm going to sizzle it away. We'll be back in a second. So once the edges start to become opaque, turned white, that's the key that it's time to flip our Kahala fillets. Okay, so these smaller pieces of the Kahala, the tips, I think are ready to be sampled. They're just seasoned with salt. Wow. That has got all of the delicious flavor of red snapper, but a much finer texture. The fat content, that absolutely melts in your mouth. That is just spectacular. All right, now I want these to rest in our plate here. They're almost all the way cooked through. We'll just nestle those right there. I'm going to tip out some of the fat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a tablespoon or so of minced shallot in there. Cooks for about 30 seconds. I'm going to add a splash of Pernod, which is an anise-flavored aperitif. Season that with some black pepper. I love Pernod shallot and black pepper. And then when this is almost evaporated, slide in a few tablespoons of butter. Kill the heat and just let the warmth of the pan melt the butter into that really fast reduction. And you can see by going slowly with cold cubes of butter, it's actually emulsified and turned into a beautiful sauce consistency. And once it's all melted, we're just going to pour that over our fish. So that's freshly sauteed kahala, a firm fish that after tasting it, I know I can grill it, I can broil it, I can saute it, I can steam it. I bet you could grind it and use it in mousselines and fish sausages. And let's see how it tastes. All right, so let's taste this and see how it worked with the sauce, the quick integral pan sauce that we made with the Pernod and the shallots. That's as good as fish gets. Wow. Look at the moisture. That's just cooked, as the French say, au point, just to the point of being done. I'd probably like to squeeze a little lemon in here. My goodness. Kahala, this is my new favorite fish. And because it's grown in the ocean, in an aquaculture system, it's good for you, it's good for our planet. Kahala, it's what's for dinner. Thank you for joining us today on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please send this message to everyone you know on social media, in your email address book. Let them know about our YouTube channel and tell them to subscribe too. Love that fish.